The Gillette Atra Plus system and Gillette Foamy Shave Cream, together the best a man can get.
When Western had the ball last time, I said that the strength of that team was their guards and their ability to block downfield. Keep in mind that they're missing all-Canadian guard Rob Godley, who's with Peter Watts.
Thank you, Michael. Rob, I know this is not the way you'd like to see a college career end. It's tough standing here on the sidelines, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, it's not the way I'd planned on going out of my college years playing football, standing on the sidelines, but it'll make it a little nicer if the guys win it today for us.
Did you have any thought and any hope at all this week that you'd be able to play, or did you know?
Yeah, I actually throughout the week I thought I had a pretty good chance of playing until yesterday at practice. We did everything that we were going to do for my leg during practice that we would do in the game. And I went out and tried to go full, and I just couldn't do it.
This game is a long way from being over. Your offense is not moving the ball, I'm sure, as much as you would have liked to have seen.
No, usually our first quarter, we're kind of feeling them, trying to see what we can run on them, what we can throw on them, what they're doing. So we're trying a few different things, and I think we've got a good idea of what they're doing and what we can do against them.
All right, Rob, good luck, eh? Get healthy and get back out on the football field soon.
Thank you very much.
Okay, Michael.
Well, it took a slot back to teach the Saskatchewan running backs how to run. Farthing with the longest run from scrimmage, 14 yards. To that point, Eisler had been the only ball carrier, and he had 6 for 21. Sapunjas awaits for it at the 15-yard line. He's got a hole up the middle, and Sapunjas brings it out to the 34-yard line where Western will scrimmage, and still no real flow to the Western offense yet.
No, I think, we've seen them, they were trying to run the inside game, but what's really dictated that, though, Michael, is their field position. They've always been starting deep in their own end on their 14-yard line and inside of the 20, and you need some breathing room to really open your offense up, because they don't want to do anything that turns the ball over inside. And I think they just have to start doing some things where they're catching the football. David last time, that's so uncharacteristic of him, and still, I'm sure a lot of them are still a little bit nervous.
You see the key statistic there. I think 25 yards is all they had to go on the short kick by Leclerc and the no yards penalty. Field position, you say, is key. Western has decent field position. Now they've got it at the 34. There's Rob Stewart to the outside, turned inside, and again, very good pursuit by Del Palaga. He's been very impressive.
Well, they're flowing very well to the point of attack here. I mean, that was just a great read by the inside linebackers. And Del Palaga, one of their best. Regina. Now, they didn't pay the trap any attention at this time. They saw Krupe and Mann coming out. And the key was there is that the front side guard coming out, Pat Mann, got stripped right away. There was some penetration there, and the guard could not get around the corner. When you throw a wrench into the integrity of the play, it's very difficult to get anything out of it.
Second down and 8 for Western, right at its own 35. It's the flanker screen. It took a while to get there, but it did. And big Tyrone Williams has some room. Tyrone bobbed and weaved his way to a first down. I think Tyrone might hustle back to the huddle and say, Chris, throw it a little bit harder than that.
Well, what happened is that he had to throw it over a defender that jumped through in front that came right across the line of scrimmage. Normally, like to throw it on a line. Tyrone just gets enough for the first down. Pretty tough yards to get him that way.
This time he heads out to the left. Top of your screen, Tyrone Williams. And he's matched there by Errol Brown. At the bottom, it's Sapunjas. Ford and Stewart in the backfield. And Gaffney to the air. He wants Tyrone Williams. He's got a stride. Williams with the catch. Tyrone Williams. 65 yards for the score.
No, he's out of bounds, I believe, on the 6-yard line.
I followed him in the end zone, and I followed the official. I didn't see any call.
Well, we're going to see a nice play here. Just play action, and they just run a streak, and Chris throws it as far as he can. And Tyrone just pulls away from Brown, but Brown's got great speed here now. You can see him catch up to Tyrone, and he just gives him a shove enough that his foot goes right out there. Good call by the official, right on the ball.
5-yard line, that's where Western is right now. Ford and Stewart in behind. Clausen in motion. It's Ford up the middle, and Ford finds nothing. And again, Del Palaga, number 51, there to break it up.
Well, we talked at the beginning of this football game. We said that they match up so well everywhere. Their offensive line, defensive line, and the running backs are very comparable. But we felt the quarterback today were going to be the key to the game. And really, that's what we're seeing. Both of them are going to have to take control and play good games today.
Saskatchewan not giving up an inch on the ground, though, up the middle. And that's where Western loves to run. Second and goal from the 4. Gaffney with a man right in his face. Now he's going to try to score, and Gaffney makes it into the end zone. 2 Saskatchewan players converged on him, but they took each other out.
Well, that's what they call naked bootleg, and we saw that against St. Mary's. They were aware of it, but Chris does a very nice job of ball handling.
Now, does Sean Gardner, number 45, the linebacker, take the wrong route here?
Yes. Now, he's got contained responsibility. He has to make sure the quarterback doesn't have it. He came in a little bit too tight, and Chris rotates. Now, this is a nice move by Chris Gaffney, even though he's carrying the ball in the wrong hand here. Nice move to step inside. We're going to see it very clear here. They false key. They bring Krupe to the right. All the flow goes to the right, and just out of his grasp. But a nice step here. Boom. Right inside for the 6 points. Wow, nice run.
Nice drive by Chris Gaffney. He threw a flanker screen to Tyrone Williams. They picked up 11. Then he threw a 60-yarder to Tyrone Williams, who went out of bounds at the 5, and he took it 4 yards for the score. You said the key was Chris Gaffney. He looks good right now as the Mustangs have taken the lead by 7.
You only get the real feeling by doing it. Choose a career. Live the adventure.
Thursday night, the Toronto Maple Leafs face off against the Boston Bruins, live from Boston Garden. Jim Newsom, Gary Green, and Jim Van Horn bring you Molson's the NHL tonight. The Maple Leafs and the Bruins this Thursday night, starting at 7:30 Eastern on TSN.
Welcome back to the Sky Dome in Toronto, the Vanier Cup, where the Western Mustangs have just scored to take a 14-7 lead here in the second quarter. Leaf Pedersen along with Larry Utek. Larry, once you think you've got the trap stopped on defense, then you have to worry about the play action. That's for sure. Blagg has been doing an excellent job stopping the trap in the middle. They sent Tyrone Williams long down the sideline, and just his height and his speed are just a little too much for their corner in this play. Excellent pass as well. What a great catch by Tyrone Williams, and all the people up here in sidelines are pretty happy with that result, and a nice drive by Western. Michael?
The finishing touches were applied by the man who delivered the ball, Chris Gaffney. Williams went out of bounds at the 4, and Gaffney took it the rest of the way. So far, Western has been stopped on the inside trap game, but they have found other ways to get into the end zone. And that way, very much Tyrone Williams, even though he didn't take it the final 4 yards. Steve McCann to kick it off. So Saskatchewan scored to tie it on a short drive, and then an explosive drive by Western to retake the lead. Simchuk awaits it at his 17. Simchuk out to the 35-yard line, where Saskatchewan will begin. Tyrone Williams has been followed all over the field. Brian Towers has sent Errol Brown out to match him, and I guess even though Brown's their best defensive back, still hard to cover a guy that big and that fast.
Well, also Brown's a freshman as well, and you know, he's a little bit inexperienced out there, but he's a good competitor. I like the way that he's been playing the last few weeks. But there you get the big height advantage for Tyrone, 6'5" over 5'11". And Tyrone is deceptive. He does have very good speed as well, but he doesn't look like he's that fast because he's a big guy.
Earl's going to feel some pressure, dumps it off, almost picked off, almost intercepted by number 45. Mike Kolodich, a defensive lineman who doesn't often get his hands on the ball.
Well, they come in the blitz here, and they just bring the linebacker. Earl doesn't see him coming here. He comes right in his face. Number 50, Richard Bury. There's not too many times you get the ball thrown right in your numbers when you're 2 feet away from the quarterback. Surprised Michael Kolodich a little bit.
But if he didn't pick it off, he still broke the play up, and the Huskies have the ball now, 2nd and 10 at their 35. They trail it 14-7 with 8:49 to play in the first half of the Vanier Cup. Only one down lineman for Western. 3-man rush, and it's a good rush, but a good timing play. Jordan Gertner makes the reception, and he has a first down. Boy, Earl threw his best pass of the game right there.
Yeah, that was a nice start right there. I mean, if you can't get confidence throwing a pass like that, I mean, he stands right in here because they've got some pressure coming from the backside. Look at that nice delivery. be close to see whether or not he has a first down. I guess they've given it to him.
Actually, they gave him a first down by about 2 yards and ruled that his momentum was instituted by the defensive back. And it's a first down for Saskatchewan. And a big one, 47-yard line. Earl trips and falls, and he can't get up. In college football, once you go down, you are down.
He probably doesn't want to get up. He's probably very embarrassed. You don't like to do this on national television, or just kicks his own heel and falls down. It happens to the best of them.
Loss of 4. It'll be second down and 14.
You know, the thing about AstroTurf when you're playing quarterback, a lot of quarterbacks like to pivot on the surface. When you pivot, usually you rip up ground, but on AstroTurf you can't do that because there's no give to it. And so you end up stepping and you get away from the things that you've usually been taught on a grass field.
Farthing's in the slot to the right. Second 14 for Saskatchewan. Four-man rush. Earl delivers it. Farthing's very well covered. He was double covered. And that time, Darryl Ford played off his man and was there to help out. Also well covered by John Davis.
Well, they bring in the 6th defensive back. You just mentioned number 25, John Davis, to give some extra help on the second down and long. And they're pretty well covered.
Well, the Huskies are in a little bit of trouble now. They trail at 14-7. Western appears to be rolling offensively, and Western appears to be going to get the ball back. Zeki with 2 kicks, a 40 and a 41-yard kick. And now another nice high kick. Sapungis will wait for it. Over his shoulder, he makes the catch. Dave Sapungis with only 4 on the return off a fine kick by Lezecki. 39 yards, and it was ever high, too.
Well, I watched Michael Lezecki. I mean, he got a great kick there, and then I watch him. He kind of hobbles off the field a little bit, so obviously that knee's giving him still a little bit of trouble. Didn't seem to give him any trouble when he kicks the ball.
He's kicking like a professional, you know. It's not the distance of his kicks that he seems to be terribly concerned with. It's the height.
It is the height. I mean, it's really eye level. We're way up here in the press box, and as we see Mike Lezecki getting some ice to that knee.
They're icing him down after every effort. And unfortunately for Saskatchewan, he is not available to do place kicking. Apparently the motion, the swinging motion with a place kick is different and hurts his particular knee injury more than punting. 1st and 10 for the Mustangs. Tyrone Williams now wide to the right, bottom of your screen. Sapungis wide to the left. And Gaffney lays it up. This one is a freebie. Ken Zappernuck puts his hands on his head. He had a great shot at it, as did Phil Giebert, who was moving in for the interception as well.
Western were trying to run Robbie Stewart down the field, and Chris just didn't get his shoulders turned properly, and therefore didn't get the momentum on the ball or the speed of the ball that he would have liked.
6:33 to play in the first half. 14-7 for the Mustangs. Gaffney's big play was a 60-yarder to Tyrone Williams. Here's Ford up the middle. Ford gets nothing. Inside trap has not worked at all. The ball was actually stolen away, but no call. John Kalmakoff, the nose tackle, didn't budge a nose.
Well, they thought they would try and surprise him there on second down, but they were ready for it. Kalmakoff's playing a pretty strong game there, because usually when they run the trap, they're going to try and double team him with the center and also the guard.
I was talking to Larry Utek, who's involved in our broadcast, and he can comment on this. And he said one of the frustrating things about the game last week was the fact that Western had 2nd and 20 twice, and they ran inside trap and got first downs. And he said, you know, that just kills a team.
Oh, it does. Psychologically, it really hurts you.
Western had 2nd and 10 that time. They came to the trap, and they got about a half a yard. So John Leclerc forced to punt it away, and he is struggling. Season average only about 32, so he's under that. And this one will be even further under that. Fortunately for Western, it takes a good enough bounce that they don't get called for no yards. So it is the Mustangs leading it by 7, but Saskatchewan continues to have good field position.
Well, that's right. I mean, if you take a look at where Saskatchewan punted from last time and where Western, they're getting the ball now, there's a gain there of about 15 yards. And if you get into a kicking game here, it looks like Saskatchewan, with the kind of kicker that they have in Michael Zecki, they're going to come out on top.
Last year's Vanier Cup game saw 10 records set offensively. This one we've seen 1 record tied. 2 touchdowns by Chris Gaffney, the quarterback, ties the Vanier Cup record. 8 others have done it. But Earl has fine field position at his own 53, sends 3 receivers right. And that's where he looks. Farthing, first reception of the game. He had the 1 carry for 14 yards in the score, and this reception's good for 4. It'll be 2nd and 6. You know, very often you can come out and watch and see what a team's game plan is. I'm not sure I know what Saskatchewan's game plan is.
Well, they seem to really get in these runs of either throwing the ball all the time, and then they start to run the ball all the time. And right now they seem to be content with trying to throw the football in the last few downs. I've seen them try to put it in the air a lot. Obviously, those 2 early interceptions are not affecting David Earl at all. He's standing right in there and throwing the football.
2 down linemen for Western. Now they bring the rush. 6 men come wide open. Simchuk. Simchuk down to the 12-yard line. Western came with a blitz, and Earl read it perfectly. Yards for Rob Simchuk.
When you play man coverage and you're coming on the blitz, you better hope that you got your running backs picked up, and obviously Western is a breakdown in the coverage. Somebody forgot to pick him up, and a nice read by Earl to pick him out.
So Western, the team that had rushed only 3 players on the previous several plays, rushed 6 there, and they got burned. 40 yards on the play for Simchuk from David Earl. 1st and 10 from the 12. 4:27 to play in the first half. Eisler on the toss, penalty down. Simchuk leading the way, but Western had that one read all the way, a gain of only 2. And let's wait for the call.
Good job.
Saskatchewan's pointing in the direction of Western. Let's see. Ken Green's point is really the only one that counts. And let's see what direction he points. Green says offside against the Western Mustangs, so it'll be 1st down over and 5 from the 7.
Well, I think we're just going to see Saskatchewan play their power game here right now. So 2 big backs.
4 of them have been costly for Western. Twice they've given Saskatchewan 1st downs inside the 10-yard line, and that's what it is now. Ball's right at the 7. That's Farthing in motion to the left. This time it's Eisler following, but not much blocking there. He was following the block of Rob Simchuk, but Simchuk ran into about 4 Western players, and it didn't really matter what he did.
Well, when you're in this situation as a defensive coach, you always tell your players, this is when it becomes fun, actually, and this is when you find out what kind of a team you really are. Get that stat, Western defense only 65 points, and there's 7 regular season games.
Coached by Bob LaRose.
Former Winnipeg Blue Bomber. Great.
Former receiver.
That's right. They split in.
But Larry Haler is now concerned with this. 2nd down and 5 from the 7-yard line. They get a 1st down right at the 2. And they throw to Gertner in the end zone, almost picked off. Excellent coverage by Darryl Ford, who was right there on Gertner.
Well, that was great coverage by Darryl, and there is no cushion there. I mean, you can't make a better play as a defender than that. I mean, he's right on him, and he almost takes the ball away here. They like to run play action, make it to Eisler, and he's looking all the way to Gardner, and what a nice job there by Darryl Ford. Wow, that's how you play the out of your defensive back.
A little bit underthrown. Gertner came back to it, and Ford battled him all the way.
But you know, actually, that's not a bad throw, Michael, because the quarterback's trying to throw a low outside to make sure that the receiver is the only one that should have an opportunity to the football. Now, Darryl, I think that was a great defensive play as opposed to really a bad throw by Earl.
15-yard line. Giebert, not their regular field goal kicker. 2 for 3 last week, and he is good on this one. So Phil Giebert, the do-everything defensive back for Saskatchewan, does this. He cuts the Western Mustangs lead to 4. We'll return to the Vanier Cup in just a moment.
To give an ordinary power saw extraordinary powers, use Dianite blades, only from Vermont American.
Available at participating home hardware stores and other fine retail outlets across Canada.
With low back pain, every step shoots pain. Up here. Know what helps?
Clinically proven Back Guard, a shoe insert. Watch how it absorbs foot shock to relieve low back pain.
Amazing. Something down here can help up here.
New Back Guard from Dr. Scholl's.
Western's probably pretty happy with that. They gave up only the 3. It could have been 7. Let's go downstairs to Peter Watts.
All right, Michael, Rob Simchuk on that punt return a few minutes ago suffered a little bit of a contusion in the calf, but it sure didn't look like it hampered him any on that long play up the middle where he caught the little hitch pass over the center and took it about 30 yards to help set up that field goal for Saskatchewan. Ryan Torres is really concerned about his offensive line. They're not doing as good a job against minimal pressure as he would like, and he really needs them to play well, both to get the running game going and also to protect David Earl and help him have time to throw the football.
Well, if you talk about that passing game, Jimmy, the running game and how well they blocked, they had first down and 5, and they ran the pitch to the left side, and Western just totally shut it down.
That's right, and I'm sure that Bob LaRose has to be very happy with that. I think Western's very fortunate to get out with only 3 points being scored against them, because Saskatchewan are a very good football team, and usually when they get those kind of opportunities inside an opponent's 10-yard line, they don't miss very often.
Western elected to take the ball at the 35-yard line.
I'm a little surprised by that, because I think they've got great weapons back there in Stewart returning punts or kickoffs, and also David Sapunjas, but I guess they feel that.
And add to that the fact that Saskatchewan is missing its regular kicker.
That's correct.
But they elect to take it to the 35. Sapunjas now wide to the right. Tyrone Williams to the left. The trap still has not worked very well. There's Mike Clausen, and Clausen is going to have to battle his way to get to the outside. Clausen does a great job to pick up 6 yards. Now a penalty comes down, and I don't know why.
Oh, he scared him on the sidelines. Del Palaga.
Yeah, but he went up in the air. Look.
This is just a great individual effort, because Saskatchewan do a very nice job here of stringing this out. Clausen's got pretty good speed. I guess wearing those black shoes, it doesn't look like he's that good, but right there, helmet. You can't leave with the head.
Unnecessary roughness, piling on, 51 Saskatchewan, first down.
I took my eye off after the first hit. The first hit was a fair one because it was Clausen who had leaped. Even though he was out of bounds, he had still kind of gone up high. But Palaga, who's been very active there, a little bit too active, and Western all of a sudden is inside Saskatchewan territory. Errol Brown gives Williams a big cushion, but it's Clausen again running the ball from his slot back position, and Palaga brings him down with Giebert, but not before he picks up 12 yards.
Here's Mike Clausen. Don't want to be jumping in the air too much. We can see Del Palaga, number 51, leading with his head. And the initial point of contact in football now cannot be with the head.
And it was out of bounds, even regardless of what he had used to do it. He was well out of bounds. Palaga didn't shake Clausen up, apparently, because Clausen picked up 12 there. This time it's Ford up the middle, but Ford still finding it very tough going.
Well, those linebackers are doing a real nice job. As soon as they see that guard start to pull, whoop, they're running right up there into the gap, and so they can't get anybody down on them to block them across the hole. And that's what you want in your linebackers, to be able to recognize trap instantly and get into the hole.
Darryl Ford, or Dwayne Ford, last week, 219 yards on 22 carries. Today, 7 carries for 19. He picked up only 2. He faked to Clausen. Now Tyrone is 6'5", but he needed to be 7'5" to bring that one down.
Well, that's Scott Hudspeth right there. I mean, he makes that play, number 77, the defensive end in their scheme of things.
Now, you said to me before the game, you said that I think the key to this game will be how well Western can find other things to win with if Saskatchewan shuts down inside trap, which is what they've done.
Well, they've tried to go outside a little bit, and they've hit some long passes. Really hasn't been a lot of consistent things that they've done well. They've hit on some big plays. And to say in that last play there, you got Scott Hudspeth. They've got to stop any kind of penetration coming across instantly, because he's 6'5", he's right in Chris Gaffney's face. Gaffney's got to throw over him to get the ball to Tyrone. He doesn't want to float it.
John LeClaire will punt from the 38-yard line. Farthing and Gertner got word from Towers whether they should give up the single. They fake it, and Wright is not going to get a first down. LeClaire tried to make it look like the ball had been snapped over his head, but Larry Haler gambles for the first time today, and it doesn't pay off. Now, if you look at it this way, maybe it's a change in momentum more than anything. If they would have kicked, they probably would have ended up, as you look at Del Palaga, the most active Saskatchewan player, hurt now. Let's assume that they would have punted there and got a single point. Saskatchewan would have got the ball at the 35-yard line. So,
well, I think what Larry's thinking was they're kicking the ball from where the 40-yard line. I mean, today when we take a look at what the average has been for John LeClaire, it's not great. So they decide to go with the fake. And you see the wide shot here in the fake, and they try to snap it. Actually, Saskatchewan do a very nice job. I believe that was, again, Del Palaga right in there who made a really nice read on the fake punt.
The average has only been 27 yards for John LeClaire, so Haler trying to find other ways to do things on third down. When you talk about a team that's prepared defensively, it seems like Saskatchewan is really prepared to play Western today.
Yeah, they are. They've really done a nice job. And Jerry Friesen, who's the defensive coordinator, he used to play at the University of Saskatchewan, and I had to play with him in the Can-Am back in 1978.
Played linebacker in the CFL as well.
That's right, with Saskatchewan, a long career. I think he played with Montreal as well.
So on the turnover on downs, Saskatchewan has the ball at its own 34-yard line. Just 1:31 to play. Let's see if they can turn this into points. Farthing with the reception. Farthing takes a big hit. He got to the 40-yard line, and he stopped right at the 40-yard line.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. We're looking at Earl here. He's going to throw the Farthing, the short man. But if you can just see in your screen, no, I guess not. But they actually had a receiver that kind of came out underneath Farthing, and then he kind of did that old kind of banana up the sideline. And Darryl Ford got influenced inside, and I think they're going to probably come back with something like that. I'm sure somebody has seen it upstairs here, and I'm sure probably somebody on defense has seen it. And I see a player, Chris Bean, talking to Darryl. I think they're trying to get their signal straight, saying, hey, who's got him?
So let's assume that you see something in the team's defense. If you're Saskatchewan, Brian Towers talks to David Earl. Brian Towers says, hey, we had a man open deep. But now you've got to try to figure out whether the other team saw it as well.
Well, that's right. I think as a quarterback, one of the things you always used to do, receiver would come back and say, hey, I was wide open in that play. I mean, I was deep. No one saw me. And you always ask him, did the defender know? I mean, did he recognize that you got by him? Because if he recognized it, he's just looking around saying, hey, I can't let him get by me again. And the receiver will either say, no, he didn't. If he didn't recognize it, go back to it right away.
So you got to communicate with your receiver.
Yeah, and he has to really be aware or cognizant of the fact of what defenders are doing, because, you know, a lot of times when the guys get wide open, they all come back to the huddle and they say, who had him? I mean, we're lucky they didn't throw the ball to him.
Right. Now, a team like Western, with its complex defense, wouldn't necessarily play the same defense 2 plays in a row, particularly since the situation is now different.
No, that's right. And I think what you have to do is come back to, they're going to probably file that one away right now. And I wouldn't be surprised if they don't come back with that one later on, because it seemed to work once, and they're still talking about it, Ford and Bean, so there's still some confusion there.
Okay, Gertner comes wide to the right. Farthing lines up actually on the line of scrimmage to the right, so it's a dual tight end formation. 2nd down and 3 for Saskatchewan. 1:17 to play. They go to Simchuk, and Simchuk fell forward, but I still don't think he got the first down.
I think he's going to be about a yard short here.
Well defensed by number 66, Dan Lane. Now, if he's a full yard short, it's a very, very important decision for Brian Towers. He is a full yard short.
Well, especially with 1 minute and 14 seconds left in the half. I mean, you don't want to give Western anything at this point in the football game with 1 minute to go before the half.
Towers, it's still difficult to recognize what he's going to do. Larry Haler, I think, hoping that Towers will go for it. Towers is going to go for it. So it is 3rd down and a full yard to go with 1:12 to play. Do you like the call?
Yeah, I do. I think I like it. I like it. It's aggressive. I think it stresses to his team that, hey, we're not going to sit back and hope for things. We're going to go after it.
I would have kicked it away. Let's see who's right. 3rd down and a full yard to go. Eisler not going to make the first down. Mike Lindley there to bring it down for a loss.
Wow, that's just great football right there, Michael. That's just great football. I mean, this is all right up front of the pit, and whoever has the best surge, and they get really low here, and Lindley gets a piece of them, and just enough to hold them up until Gary Clements comes in the linebacker to finish off the play. I mean, that's great. That's just great. Great stuff, both ways.
I think that side would say it's a lot greater than the other side.
Well,
so Western now can really go for the throat. They lead at 14-10, and they could go into halftime with a big boost. 1st and 10. Gaffney throws it for Tyrone Williams, who's got the big size, but he didn't need the size. Gaffney put it right into the numbers.
Well, they talk about Tyrone maybe being NFL caliber wide receiver. So big, and what a big target. And Chris goes back, looking to his right, which is nice, and he comes back again to Tyrone. A beautiful thrown ball. Giebert just was a little late getting over there, and it was a perfectly thrown ball and a nice catch by Tyrone Williams, a native of Halifax, Nova Scotia. Played his football at Queen Elizabeth High School.
Tyrone did not have to move his hands. I saw him getting ready to leap because it seemed like, I guess he figured the ball was higher than it was as Western takes a timeout. But that ball just went plunk right into the numbers.
You know, Chris Gaffney, he's really come on in the playoffs. From what Larry Haler was saying, he struggled a little bit during the year. He wasn't as consistent as they wanted him to be. But once he got into playoffs, I mean, he's showing that he can handle the pressure, and he's really playing a heck of a football game right now.
You know, the biggest play